And now coming out onto the grid for their 8 lap, we have got the MK Mini GP50 R class coming out, ready to take on their first race of this season. Who do you think we should be looking out for here, Ross?
Well, lots of strong riders. We'll run through the grid in a short moment, but it should be very, very exciting indeed. It'll be Sebastian GASLAWSKI who starts from pole position with Bradley Curtis in second place. Frankie Watson goes up for P3 with Mason FEDRICK in P4. Matthew Thomas is fifth with Joseph Cooper in P6, Oscar McAllister seventh, and Callum Maxwell in PA. Only an 8-rider grid out there for this brand new class here at FAB-Racing. The Mini GP50R available for upgraded Metric Mini GP50s with a 28mm carb fitted or an Avali 140 or 160. The Avalis, of course, are very welcome and very popular clearly within this class, where we see a few of them making their way onto the grid. But you asked me a moment ago, Izzy, who am I expecting to go well here? I've got to say, it's got to be Sebastian GASLAWSKI on pole by 0.7 of a second.
He has come to visit us this weekend, hasn't he? And he has come from the British Talent Cup to see us this weekend, but he's there first on the grid. Right now, we are just waiting for this race to start. Let's see what's going to happen.
Absolutely, these riders will be the ones potentially going to the British Talent Cup in the future in the new class here at FAB-Racing. Eyes to the lights, and we are a little bit of a jump in the background, but we're finally underway. What a start there for the 71 of Bradley Curtis, who slots in front of Super Seb on the 64 through turn number 1. GASLAWSKI looks to the inside into the second chicane, can't find anything. Frankie Watson up to P3. He had an off earlier in qualifying 1, but seems to be running okay. Now GASLAWSKI looks to the inside and does get the move done, reaffirms that lead once more. But let's be safe to say, Bradley Curtis is not going to take no for an answer. He's going to push onwards. The front 3 all starting to break away from the pack.
They are indeed out front currently. We do have Sebastian GASLAWSKI. Let's see how he fends throughout the rest of this race. Following behind him in second place, we have the number 71 of Bradley Curtis. These are making up our top 2 at the moment. And are we going to see them separating more and more from the pack? Let's see what happens. Bradley Curtis has just put in a best lap time of 45.368 seconds. I wonder what's going to happen throughout the rest of this race.
We'll have to wait and see as they push onwards. GASLAWSKI starts to push forwards. Message from race control, apparently. Let's see what they're saying up there. We've got a start under investigation, so we'll let you know what's happening there as soon as we know. But race control clearly spotting something we didn't. They're not happy with what went down as the light went out. As we see Bradley Curtis a little bit wide there, just missed the apex, missed the mark. Heading into the final corner, allows Frankie Watson to bring that gap down just a little bit on the 14 machine. Matthew Thomas as well, not too far behind on the 47. He'll be looking to pounce if he spots an opportunity, but the 71 holding off the 14 as they make their way through the chicanes of the opening sector and down to the hairpin at the bottom end of the track. And this is where the fast stuff starts now. Through these big sweepers and on to the back straight, absolutely flat out on these Mini GP machines. Interesting to see that Curtis took a bit of a wider line on the corner entry to the big right-hander there. Did allow Frankie Watson to close in just that little bit more, but ultimately allowed him to gain more time down the straights. And again, we're seeing him running a little bit wide in the final corner as well. I wonder if rather than making a mistake, that's a tactical decision. He's trying to carry more momentum.
Yes, let's see what happens during the rest of this race. We've got a little battle going on right now for second place between Bradley Curtis and the number 14 of Frankie Watson. Curtis is going to want to hold on to this second place as best he can to make sure he can continue and try and gain on GASLAWSKI for that first place. Let's see what happens in this battle here. Curtis is holding on very well to second place. Frankie Watson is going to do all they can to try and take that second place off him. Getting a bit close here up in that final corner, but no, Bradley Curtis is holding on to that second place as they start their 8th lap.
Yeah, here we go. 8 laps left to run. Curtis still holding on from Frankie Watson, but really tense racing between the pair of them. Couldn't separate them at all. The 71 taking slightly different lines from the 14 as we've been seeing so far. These two battling as well. That has allowed GASLAWSKI just to disappear away at the front of the race. He's now got a 2.5 second advantage, pending a disaster, pending these two suddenly just pulling something out of the top drawer. He's looking very comfortable. As once again, this time Frankie Watson doesn't dive down the inside and actually follows Curtis wide into the final corner. Maybe he's just following him, seeing if he prefers that line. Of course, part of the fun of being the hunter in a battle, being the biker, following the other, is you get to see where you're stronger and where you're weaker than your opponent. And where you're weaker, just follow them. See what they're doing, see if it works. And if it gives you more speed, it gives you an even better chance of going through.
Indeed, it does. These two, I think, are going to be ones to watch for the rest of the race because, like you said, Sebastian GASLAWSKI has got a massive gap built up now and he's sat very comfortably in first place in this race. We have had a retirement, Callum MAXWELL. He is not currently on track. Let's wait and see what happens between everybody else. Right now we have got a battle going on between Mason FEDRICK and number 90, Joseph Cooper. And let's see what happens coming round that last corner. Cooper wants to take that 5th position from Mason FEDRICK, but he's very much struggling to do so. Let's continue and watch these two and see what happens. FEDRICK holding on, but Cooper is right hot on his tail, wanting to take that position away from him. And we have got 6 laps left to go, but let's keep watching these two. FEDRICK holding on as best he can into the corner and takes it and holds on to his position. Cooper is following him very closely behind. Cooper wants to take this 5th place from him to give him that chance to get past him and fight some more, but FEDRICK is remaining quite comfortably in 5th place and he's not giving up on it that easily.
5 laps left to run then. This battle for 2nd place rages on. Bradley Curtis extending that gap ever so slightly on the previous tour. Frankie Watson maybe just recovering and pushing back onwards. Once again, tighter line from the 14 compared to the 71 into the right-hand sweeper, but not really gaining him enough time to try and challenge for a move into the final corner, just too far back. Not quite going to be seeing shades of Jenson Bishop in the Mini GP70s last year, where he could just brake so much later than anyone else before he unfortunately crashed out of the lead of the race. 4 laps then left to go. GASLAWSKI's lead up to 7 seconds now. These two battling. He has just flown away at the front of the pack as a result. Yes, he qualified on pole by quite some margin, but when those around you are fighting, it just gives you clean track, fresh air in front, and just allows you to drive away at the front of the pack. It's been a fantastic ride so far from him, but fantastic rides from both Curtis and Watson as they squabble over the podium places. Curtis, though, has looked imperious in his defense. Watson has not found a single gap to try and slide through, and as the laps tick away, it might be like my beloved St Albans City FC's relegation fight. Too little, too late.
Very much so it could be. Like you just said, we've got 3 laps to go. Curtis is holding on to that 2nd place ahead of Watson. Watson is doing everything he can to take that from Curtis, but it's looking like Curtis will take that 2nd place from him. Curtis is holding on to it. Sebastian GASLAWSKI here, all the way out in front on that number 64 in 1st position, is going to suit him well to take this win here at Lydd at this 1st race. He's just cruising, set himself a very comfortable place here out in 1st, and no real sign of anybody. He's lapped everyone. 2nd and 3rd place, Bradley Curtis and Frankie Watson have now been Bradley Curtis and Frankie Watson in 2nd and 3rd place, but Sebastian GASLAWSKI holding that lead out in 1st place, and with 2 laps to go, no one is getting anywhere close to catching up with him.
No, this one looks like it was done and dusted quite some time ago. GASLAWSKI could come home blindfolded as finally Frankie Watson gets the move done. I may have spoke too soon earlier. The 14 has spotted a gap and slid on through the 71. Now going defensive as he tries to break the toe down the back straight. Curtis looked to the inside. Watson covered it off and then was not able to find a way through. Last lap of the race then. Here we go. Frankie Watson may have just played the patient game and timed it perfectly when Curtis thought he may have had second in the bag. The 14 slid on by the number 71, and well, that could be done and dusted unless Curtis is able to find a way back through. But up the front of the pack, the 64, nobody else in sight. To welcome the new category, the 50R to FAB-Racing, it's the Super Seb Show. Sebastian GASLAWSKI dominates the opening race of the season, and the number 64 bike, the class of the field, doesn't even cover it. And Frankie Watson, with a late move, will take second place from Bradley Curtis. What a great battle we saw between the pair of them, but ultimately the 14 played his cards right and came up trumps. It's GASLAWSKI from Watson from Curtis, your podium finishers. Matthew Thomas brings it home in fourth place, with Mason FEDRICK fifth, Joseph Cooper in P6, Oscar McAllister in seventh. Unfortunately, we did lose the 111, Callum MAXWELL. But man, oh man, what a race, especially there for the podium places between Frankie Watson and Bradley Curtis. But Sebastian GASLAWSKI, that is a statement.
It was indeed. Here he comes now round into the pits to take that first place. No one could keep up with him in that race at all. It was a great result for Sebastian GASLAWSKI and the two in second and third, Frankie Watson and Bradley Curtis. Brilliant race we saw there from them, and it will be brilliant to see what happens throughout the rest of the season between them. But like I said, Sebastian GASLAWSKI just took the lead, absolutely. No one could keep up with him at all. It was a very interesting race indeed, especially that fight between those two in second and third, Frankie Watson and Bradley Curtis. The riders are just coming in now from their outlap, setting up that grid, ready to go for this second race for the Mini GP50s. I think we're in for a brilliant race this afternoon from these lot, and we've also got a third race from them later on this afternoon.
We will indeed. All the race threes from this weekend still to come a little bit later on. But now it's time for race two. Lee Clowes, the flag marshal, ready to send them on their way. GASLAWSKI, the pole sitter, on the left-hand side of your picture. On the right, Bradley Curtis on the 71. Can anybody stop GASLAWSKI in this race? We'll have to wait and see. The flag marshal getting ready to send them on their way for 11 laps of furious racing here at Lydd. The red lights come on. It is lights out and we are underway. Huge launch for Riley Paisley and also for Bradley Curtis, who takes the lead down into turn number one. There's a huge gaggle of bikes in the background getting all held up, but GASLAWSKI already fighting back. He gets back through Riley Paisley back into second place, but Bradley Curtis, that was a rocket ship of a start from second on the grid. He will take the lead. Can he stay there though?
I'm not too sure. I think you've just seen Sebastian GASLAWSKI having a go at trying to take that first position back from Bradley Curtis. What an amazing first lap that is so far. He hasn't managed to do it though. Bradley Curtis is still holding on to that lead, but Sebastian GASLAWSKI is not going to let him go that easily. He is right on the tail of Bradley Curtis, wanting to take that away from him at the end of that first lap. We are beginning the second lap of this second race here at Lydd. Sebastian GASLAWSKI constantly looking to make that move on Bradley Curtis, but he is not quite managing it just yet. He's still got 11 laps to go in this race though to get that first place back and continue his domination here at Lydd. Let's see what happens. Bradley Curtis doing everything he can to stay on the defensive and not let Sebastian GASLAWSKI get past him just yet.
Just want to give a quick shout out to Caelan RATCLIFFE from 7th on the grid up to 4th place already. A rocket ship start for the number 96. GASLAWSKI nowhere to make the move down into the final corner as himself and Bradley Curtis start to streak away from the pack. But that is magical from Sebastian GASLAWSKI. Sweeps round the outside into turn one straight out of the top draw, and back to the lead of the race goes the 64, and now tries to book his ticket and check out. Unbelievable.
That was absolutely amazing from Sebastian GASLAWSKI there. He saw that opening and took it to take that position away from Bradley Curtis, and he is making quite a gap so far. Here we can see a little battle going on. I wonder who that is. That is the fight for third between Riley Paisley and Caelan RATCLIFFE. Caelan RATCLIFFE is holding on to his position in fourth place. Like you said, a magical start for him at the beginning of this race. He's quite quickly catching up to Riley Paisley. Mason FEDRICK now in fourth in this race.
Yeah, Riley Paisley got a great start. Mason FEDRICK muscling his way through Caelan RATCLIFFE through the sweepers and forcing him out a bit wide. It was a mistake from RATCLIFFE, ran too deep at the hairpin that allowed FEDRICK the opportunity, but he did have to work for it as well. There we see Bradley Curtis actually dropping back slightly, maybe into the clutches of Riley Paisley. This could go from a three-way fight for third into a four-way fight for P2 for not to go. And that is a problem. That is a big, big problem for the 71 of Bradley Curtis. He was leading the race at the start. He's now dropped back into P4, and that bike is not looking at its best. What is happening to the 71? Riley Paisley goes up into second, Mason FEDRICK into third. Issues for Bradley Curtis. Hopefully he's able to recover and try and push back forwards.
Yeah, we will see what happens. He does appear to very much so be struggling with his bike, but he's still holding on to the tail of these guys. Let's see what he does here. In first place still though, we have Sebastian GASLAWSKI, absolutely flying ahead of everyone else, setting a fastest lap just of 42.387 seconds. He is doing absolutely brilliant with his domination of this race. This is looking to be a battle, a three-way battle in fact, for this second place between Riley Paisley, Mason FEDRICK and Bradley Curtis. Although he was struggling, he is fighting to keep control of that bike so he can stay in this fight.
These are the riders on the road to MotoGP. These are the riders that are potential stars of the likes of the British Superbike Championships of the future, and they are showing us already that they have what it takes as Bradley Curtis encounters more issues. Through goes Caelan RATCLIFFE. There is something massively wrong with that bike. I think it's possibly on the brakes, because on the straights, and he's coming in. Hand goes up for Bradley Curtis. Race will be over. Heartbreak for the 71 in race number 2. But a mechanical issue means that the man who started from second place got into the lead at the start now will DNF here. A real shame. And once again promotes everyone up the order. So RATCLIFFE now into fourth. Rex Austin P5. Tommy Keates P6. Sebastian GASLAWSKI nearly a 10-second lead already ahead of Riley Paisley. This battle for second though does still rage on.
It does. Let's just look at our top 10 real quickly. We have Sebastian GASLAWSKI still out in front. In second place, we have Riley Paisley on the number 17. Third place, we have Mason FEDRICK on the number 5. Fourth, we have Caelan RATCLIFFE. Fifth, we have Rex Austin. Sixth, we have Tommy Keates. Seventh, we have Nicolas DUNWOODY. Eighth, we have Emilio PEREIRA. Ninth, Jenson ANSELL. And rounding out our top 10 is Daisy POLDEN, who is being supported this year by the House of Moto Cup. Brilliant to see from her. Sebastian GASLAWSKI holding on to his lead right now. Another show of his absolute domination here at Lydd.
Yeah, the man has just checked out up the front of the pack. Action further back as well. This is Caelan RATCLIFFE. He's fighting with Rex Austin and Tommy Keates at the moment. Ooh, Keates, a slight mistake there, I believe. Just had to sit up slightly, or should I say that was Rex Austin. Oh no, it was Tommy Keates actually. He's made his way through Rex Austin up into 5th place now. Caelan RATCLIFFE holding on to 4th on that number 96 machine so far, but it's going to be 4 laps left to go as they cross the line. All possibility for change. Once again, back to this titanic battle for second place. Riley Paisley, less than a year on from that huge leg break he suffered at Three Sisters, running incredibly well out there at the moment on that green and white 17 machine. But Mason FEDRICK, a ferocious competitor behind him, is going to be pushing him all the way to the line. We'll have to wait and see if FEDRICK is able to try and get through as we move back to watch the battle for 4th place. And look at that, Tommy Keates has got through Caelan RATCLIFFE, the number 8, now up to P4.
He is indeed. This is a very tight battle we have got here for 4th position. Like you said, the number 8 of Tommy Keates has got past the 96 of Caelan RATCLIFFE to take it away from him, but Caelan RATCLIFFE is not going to let him go easily, and this is going to be a very close battle. That's hit a bit of traffic there, lapping another rider, but they are still battling it out. Caelan RATCLIFFE doing everything he can to catch back up to Tommy KEATES and get it away from him.
Yeah, encountering some traffic, of course, though. That's going to cause some chaos potentially, but all looking like they're making it through cleanly so far. Just having to negotiate their way around, getting a little bit held up. There is Tommy KEATES. Who's that in front of them? Not entirely sure, but they do finally blast on by and are able to get round, and looks like no change to the orders. Onto the penultimate lap of the race then. Time is running out for Caelan RATCLIFFE. Time is running out for Mason FEDRICK if they want to try and make the move to improve their position.
Yeah, let's look back here for that battle for second place. Riley Paisley on the number 17, holding out just in front of the number 5 of Mason FEDRICK. Here we are with our leader, Sebastian GASLAWSKI, on that number 64. Absolutely miles ahead of everyone else, coming round to start his last lap of this race. Absolute brilliant show from here today so far at Lydd. Absolute domination.
Oh, that's RATCLIFFE.
That is RATCLIFFE. RATCLIFFE on the number 96 has come off and has crashed. We are hoping he's all okay, but that is the end of his race here at Lydd today, unfortunately.
Yeah, big off there through the sweeping sections. We haven't had anybody go off there just yet today, but he's up on his feet and all okay, which is the most important thing. A real shame for Caelan RATCLIFFE though, but this boy will be smiling underneath his helmet. Sebastian GASLAWSKI, another race of pure domination. Someone find out who engineered this man as the 64 takes another dominant win in the Mini GP50s. Race 2, who else was it gonna be but Super Sebastian GASLAWSKI? No one else has even crossed the line yet, and he's getting up to the bottom end of the circuit, going very, very slowly. It's unbelievable how far ahead of the rest of the pack he was. Riley Paisley does hold on to second place from Mason FEDRICK to round out the podium, but it's Sebastian GASLAWSKI dominating by 17.5 seconds to take yet another win here at the Lydd kart circuit. A dominant performance. Riley Paisley and Mason FEDRICK inseparable at the line. They round out the podium places with Tommy KEATES in P4 and Rex Austin in P5. Nicolas DUNWOODY was sixth, with Emilio PEREIRA making his way up to 7th place. A great result for him. With Daisy POLDEN, a great result for her as well in P8. Josh Perkins P9 and Jenson ANSELL rounding out our top 10. It's already looking like it could be a season where there's only one name we need to worry about, because Sebastian GASLAWSKI has shown that he is far and away the class of the field this weekend so far.
He has indeed. What domination we have seen from him. He is definitely going to be one to look out for throughout the rest of this season. Brilliant show he has had here in Lydd, but also what a brilliant fight we just saw during that race for that second position between number 17 Riley Paisley and the number 5 of Mason FEDRICK. Absolute brilliant show from them, and we still have another race to go just a little later to see what will happen for these guys in the Mini GP50.
Time then for the final race of the Mini GP50s. After an aborted start due to an accident, we're ready to go back out onto our sighting lap and get racing once again. A full race restart. We will just be missing Jenson ANSELL, the 22, who was involved in that incident. From pole, it's Sebastian GASLAWSKI looking for his 6th race win of the weekend. Bradley Curtis in 2nd, with Mason FEDRICK in P3 and Riley Paisley in 4th. Jenson ANSELL would have been starting 5th, but unfortunately he was the cause of the red flag, but he is okay, and that is the main thing. Tommy KEATES, though, will be starting the sole rider on row 3. Caelan RATCLIFFE is 7th, with Rex Austin in P8. Josh Perkins 9th, and Emilio PEREIRA rounding out the top 10. Nicolas DUNWOODY starts 11th alongside Dylan Tureen. Daisy POLDEN is 13th, with Seth HAYWARD in 14th place. Preston BAKER, he starts P15th alongside Bojan BLAZHEVSKI, with Harry James 17th and Callum MAXWELL our 18th and final rider on the grid. We've already had one little go at this one. Izzy, didn't quite go so well, but we did see, crucially, another great start for Sebastian GASLAWSKI, who'll be looking to repeat it this time round.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Sebastian GASLAWSKI will want to do everything he can to make sure he repeats that start that he just had before the race got stopped and we started. Everybody lining up on the grid now. Lee Clowes holding up that flag, telling everybody to wait there whilst we get everything finalised and sorted, ready for this second to last race of the day here at Lydd Circuit. Is race 3 of 3 for the MK Mini GP50. It is going to be absolutely epic, this one. Let's see, there she is. She's on the move. Red lights are off. And away we go. Lights out. We are racing here at Lydd. Sebastian GASLAWSKI has got his leader back once again, doing absolutely brilliantly. In second place, we have got Bradley Curtis on that number 71. Absolute amazing start from everyone here. Following him in third is the number 17 of Riley Paisley. But once again, Super Seb has got away and got that lead ahead of everyone else.
Great start as well from Bradley Curtis, it must be said, slotting into second position ultimately, but was challenging Sebastian GASLAWSKI just a little bit away from the lights. Riley Paisley as well, just about able to get up and in front of Mason FEDRICK for P3. So a great job from the number 17. Once again, look at the gap already between Sebastian GASLAWSKI and Bradley Curtis. Visually, it is light years. 1.2 seconds at the line that time. Riley Paisley himself a further nearly 2 seconds ahead of Riley Paisley. Once again, we're in for the GASLAWSKI show in this race, but it is all action for P3, it must be said. Riley Paisley holding off Mason FEDRICK, Caelan RATCLIFFE there as well, just behind him. Emilio PEREIRA, another great start for El Toro on his first weekend on a 50 bike, up to P6 now in this race. Brilliant stuff from him.
Yeah, Paisley holding on to that third place ahead of Mason FEDRICK. We saw these two battling it out earlier today in race 2. Here they come round that final corner. Paisley holding on to his leader, but FEDRICK trying to find that move, trying to find that gap so he can take third position away from Paisley. This is a battle that has been going on all weekend, and it isn't going to stop till the end of this third race here today at Lydd. Paisley got a bit of a gap forming now, but FEDRICK in those corners is doing everything he can to close down that gap, try and find the place to make the move to take third position.
Absolutely great stuff on display here at the moment. FEDRICK looks left, looks right through the sweepers, can't find the move. Paisley placing his bike perfectly to keep the number 5 behind. As they head into the final corners, look at the accordion effect as RATCLIFFE closes in. Looks like FEDRICK does get a good run. He tried the tighter line on the exit of the corner, but nothing came out of it on that occasion. 8 laps left to go. GASLAWSKI disappearing off into the distance once again. Bradley Curtis not too far behind though, he himself. A huge gap ahead of Riley Paisley in P3. And then just this train of bikes that follows Paisley. FEDRICK, RATCLIFFE, Tommy Keates in P6, Emilio PEREIRA now as well, also getting involved. And Josh Perkins also not too far behind. There is a whole host of bikes that are in a podium fight realistically right now.
There are indeed. I think this is perhaps one of the closest groupings together we have seen from these guys across this weekend. On our screens, we still see that battle between the number 17 and number 5 of Mason FEDRICK. 17, Riley Paisley holding on to that third place, showing FEDRICK he can defend and he will do everything he can to stop him from taking that third position away from him, that third podium position. Absolute brilliant stuff from Paisley this weekend. He isn't going to go down easily, but is FEDRICK going to do it? And he doesn't. He tried to take that from Paisley, but Paisley isn't allowing it. He slammed that door right in FEDRICK's place and told him to go away. He wants that third position and he's going to keep a hold of it. 7 laps left to go here at Lydd Circuit. Out in front though, once again, Sebastian GASLAWSKI. Absolute domination in this third and final race for the MK Mini GP50 Racing.
New lap record then for Sebastian GASLAWSKI, breaks the one he set earlier in the weekend, 42.542. He is flying at the front. Bradley Curtis, meanwhile, 3.5 seconds back. He has started to drop away. His last lap time 0.8 slower than the 64. While Riley Paisley under big pressure. FEDRICK draws alongside on the exit of the hairpin. I love the inside, but Paisley once again sweeps round, goes a bit deep. Does that hurt his momentum? Is there the up and under perhaps there as we switch away from a fantastic battle? There is the race leader, Sebastian GASLAWSKI, up the front of the pack, and there is nobody else in sight. Paisley does still hold on, but here comes Mason FEDRICK up the inside. This time, surely the 5 goes by and into the podium place as he does. Can Riley Paisley respond?
Let's see what he can do. Paisley isn't going to let this go down easily. He has been fighting so hard and defending so hard to stop FEDRICK from getting that 3rd position, but unlucky for him, with 5 laps left to go, FEDRICK just got up the inside of him and took that place back from him. There is a gap forming between these two, and now let's see, with 4 laps left to go now, what Paisley can do. He has given it his all so far this race, but is it going to be enough to chase down FEDRICK and take down that 3rd place once again? We will have to wait and see. Also following closely behind Paisley is the number 8 of Tommy KEATES. Is he going to try and make a move on Paisley to take that 4th position? Have Paisley got it in it to defend once more again?
Yeah, running really well is Tommy KEATES at the moment. Riley Paisley, he's almost acting like a cork in a bottle. He's not quite got the pace of those around him, but by racing smart, placing his bike on the right places on the track, he can keep them behind him. But then once they break free, you can see that the gap that Mason FEDRICK has already, after not too long, getting in front. New lap record once again from Sebastian GASLAWSKI, 42.512. He continues to go faster still. There is the 31 of Emilio PEREIRA, who's got back in front of Caelan RATCLIFFE, back in front for P6. Nice stuff from El Toro as the 64 continues to streak off into the distance. He is looking for the perfect weekend of perfect weekends and is well on his way to 6 wins to open 2025, both here in the 50s and in the brand new Mini GP50 R class as well. Bit of traffic ahead of him, but as he starts the penultimate lap of the race, Izzy, you can see just how big the gap is behind him.
Indeed, he has got a massive gap forming between him and Bradley Curtis in second. He has got a 6.655 second lead ahead of him. Here comes that group again. There's the number 17 of Riley Paisley. On his tail, though, is the number 8 of Tommy KEATES. Got some traffic here. Is that going to cause any issues for anybody as they come on through? Doesn't look like it has caused many issues. Paisley is still leading ahead of Tommy KEATES for this 4th position. Battle round. They come the bottom end of the circuit to determine who is going to be where. This has been some brilliant back with our race leader, Sebastian GASLAWSKI, as he starts the last lap of this race, of the final race for the Mini GP50 of this weekend at Lydd. Look at him go. Absolute speed, absolute domination all weekend for him. You know he is going to be proud of his performance this weekend. Nobody has been able to keep up with Super Seb and what he has achieved this weekend. Running in first place, still coming up that final back stretch now into that final corner. Super Seb has done it again. Race 3 of the Mini GP50. Sebastian GASLAWSKI takes the checkered flag to take first position. What absolute work he has done this weekend at the season opener of the FAB-Racing Minibike Championship. He is definitely one we are going to be looking out for the rest of the season.
The perfect weekend of perfect weekends for the number 64. 6 out of 6 for Sebastian GASLAWSKI. Simply dominant stuff from him, and what a way to start his 2025 as well. GASLAWSKI, just unreal how quick that boy is. 7.8 seconds ahead of Bradley Curtis in P2 as Mason FEDRICK rounds out the podium after getting through Riley Paisley. Tommy KEATES was 4th. Riley Paisley ended up P5 after his defensive efforts, with Emilio PEREIRA P6 for the 31. A brilliant result for him. Caelan RATCLIFFE was 7th. Josh Perkins P8. Nicolas DUNWOODY was 9th. And Daisy POLDEN rounding out our top 10. But this weekend, there's only one man to speak about, and it is that man right there, the 64 Sebastian GASLAWSKI. He has been on another planet, and that is potentially the start of a record-breaking dominant season. Only time will tell, of course, whether that becomes true. But right now, he is looking untouchable.